Good morning and welcome. It's Corporate Governance Platform brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I'm Funmi Omoburiu. Today on the program, we want to look at imperative of access to independent external technical advice by directors. All right, my guest this morning is Mr. KAYODE KETEFE, FCIS Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. KETEFE.
Good morning, Funmi. Good morning to you, all our listeners. It's very nice to be on this side of the table as a guest today.
Yeah, it's really nice to have you on the side of the table as our main guest. All right, with me also here is Mr. Olawale Hassan, Training Officer at ICSAN Training Department. Good morning. Good to have you right here on the program.
Good morning, Funmi. Good morning, Mr. KETEFE. It's good to be on the program today.
Okay, great. All right, before we delve fully into the program, we're going to take this message and, of course, we'll be right back.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, as I said earlier, we're looking at the imperative of access to independent external technical advice by directors. All right, so Mr. KETEFE, let's begin this way. Why is it necessary for directors to have access to independent professional advice?
Thank you very much for that question for me. I think the confident point to start in answering this question is to ask another pertinent question. Who are the directors? In order to set the tone for the discourse. The board of directors is a body of people appointed to act on behalf of the shareholders to run the company or an organization, as the case may be. They provide the strategic leadership to the company, while the day-to-day affairs of the business is delegated to the management team. The board of directors is the one accountable to the shareholders, who have the powers to remove them. So the main purpose of the board of directors is to ensure that the company is properly run. They ensure the prosperity and sustainability of the company through their house of directing. Having stated that, we can now proceed to the specific question you ask, which is, why is it necessary for directors to have access to independent professional advice? And you see, the directors have to give strategic direction to their company and their organizations. They make all these decisions towards the fulfillment of the corporate mission, towards the realization of the corporate objectives. The decision of the directors can make or mar the organization. So the decisions are very weighty. And it has to be borne in mind that the directors often have to make decisions in relation to some technical subject of which they may not be sufficiently knowledgeable. no matter the composition of the board, let's even assume all of them are professors. They cannot know everything. And by the way, all of them being professors will in itself even breach another principle of corporate governance, which is the imperative of diversity on the board. Be that as it may, the point we are making is that no matter how the board is composed, there will be occasions when the board will have to make decisions regarding subjects that is beyond the areas of knowledge, areas of expertise of the directors. Then, on such occasion, they will need to have access to independent professional advice. That's why the corporate governance codes stipulates. It's not even the Nigerian code alone. The corporate governance code the world over, they have similar provision regarding the right of access of director to independent professional advice. It's just to enable them to be able to do their job more effectively.
All right, great. There's a provision of the code that the board should ensure that directors, especially the non-executive directors, have access to independent professional advice where they consider it necessary to discharge their responsibilities as directors. Now, why is there emphasis on the non-executive directors on this issue?
Thank you very much. That the directors of organizations are collectively referred to as directors, but there's dichotomy as regards the nature of directorship. We have non-executive directors and we have executive directors and non-executive directors. To begin with, let's even ask ourselves, who are the non-executive directors? The non-executive directors are directors who are not involved in the day-to-day activities of the company. They are employed on the board, basically on the strength of their experience and background. They are employed on the board to enrich the board's decision, to bring fresh perspectives on the deliberation of the board. So a non-executive director is therefore not a part of the executive team. Now, to answer your question, we have already said non-executive directors are not involved with the day-to-day operations. That means, if you really look at it, they had a disadvantage. What do I mean by this? They had at a disadvantage when it comes to comprehensive knowledge about the company, when it comes to its specific operations and procedure, unlike their executive counterpart. You know, the non-executive director, by the definition I've given, you can easily see they are only part-timers. This translates to the fact that they cannot be expected to be in the same league with the full-time executive directors as far as deep insight into the affairs of the company is concerned. So it's because of this obvious disadvantage that the corporate governance code lays emphasis on non-executive directors, in particular in the context of their right of access to independent professional advice.
All right. Another recommendation of the code is that the board should ensure that such independent professional advice is obtained as set out in the company's governance policies and at the company's expense. Now, why is it desirable that the cost of obtaining such advice should be at the company's expense?
It is ideal and normal that the independent professional advice being sought by directors should be at the company's expense, because the directors are just the agents of the company. Under the law of agency, the cost that is incurred by the agent and the cost of carrying out the principal assignment is normally borne by the principal. The directors are carrying out their function on behalf of the company, not for themselves. So it stands to reason that the incidental costs relating to the execution of those functions and normal costs to be borne by the company.
Okay.
When you look at it, you can't even ask the director to bear the cost. We have already said the benefits accruable from their decisions go to the company. So there is no point. The director they are just the fiduciary agents of the company. Let's imagine the situation now. When you ask each director to bear the cost of consulting a professional in order to carry out the company's work, there will be chaos in the system, because the result of such measure will now depend on each director's financial capacity. Many of them will even dispense with having to consult the needed professional if they have to take the money out of their pocket. So, from whatever angle you look at it, it's expedient that the company should bear the cost of the consultancy of professionals whenever it is needed.
All right. Now, since the board should ideally be composed of skilled people from diverse backgrounds, will it be necessary any longer to obtain paid professional advice? Why not just bring in any such professional on board as NED if there is a knowledge gap on the board?
This question is very interesting. Just like I said earlier, the entire scope and ramifications of the duties and responsibilities of directors can never be fully envisaged. So you cannot continue to be bringing any fancy professional on board because you may need their knowledge in future, or you may need a skill or expertise at a particular time. If you keep doing that, the whole board will become one large behemoth body that is unwieldy and will be highly expensive to maintain. Well, let me say it's not even feasible. The best thing that could be done is to consult independent professionals as they are needed. A professional that is consulted today in relation to a particular issue may not be needed for the next 5 years. That's if at all is even needed forever. So we now bring such a person on board, knowing fully where directors earn remuneration. So in summary, I think the proposition of bringing any professional whose advice or whose skill may be needed on board just for the case of having to dispense with incidental expenses of consultation is impracticable in reality.
All right. Before I let you go, what advice do you have for companies and other similar entities on the issue of independent external technical advice for directors?
Well, thank you very much. Firstly, I will say that companies and other similar entities, they should have what is called a governance policy, and it should be designed in such a way that they should incorporate provisions on access to independent advice by director into it. It should just be part of the content of the governance policy of such company. Secondly, I will advise that companies and other similar entities should imbibe the principles of governance as enunciated in the Nigeria Code of Corporate Governance 2018, not only on issues relating to the topic we are discussing, right of access to independent advice director, but indeed all the 28 principles that are contained in the code. They represent the global best practices, so it will be to the advantage of companies and other entities to imbibe and practice these principles. Lastly, but not the least, companies and other corporate entities should endeavor to boost the skill of their directors by sending them to capacity building trainings on diverse corporate governance matters. Fortunately, such training is being regularly organized by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. So, ICSAN does not only organize regular trainings all year round on governance and corporate secretarial matters, it also organizes tailor-made trainings for corporate organizations and entities that require them. This is in form of implant training that are specifically designed for organizations that request for them. Many companies and other corporate entities as well as individuals have over the years been taking advantage of this training, and they have been giving us positive feedback all along that it really is helps in boosting their capacity in expanding the frontiers of skill and expertise. So I advise companies and other entities to come to ICSAN for such training.
All right. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mr. KETEFE. All right, Mr. Hassan, let me come to you for the announcements that we have.
Thank you, Fumi. We have two announcements to make today. One is from the governance conference and one is from the training department of the institute. Okay. The first program is on the maiden edition of the National Corporate Governance Summit with the theme Building a Strong and Viral Economy, the Role of Corporate Governance. The program will be holding on Monday the 7th and Tuesday the 8th of November 2022. The program will hold within a time of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the venue for the program is Oriental Hotel, Victoria Highland, Lagos. For more inquiries on the program, you can call 080-2378-3043. And you can also call 070-111-30059. The second program is the ICSAN virtual training, and the topic for the program is the Practical Company Secretarial Workshop for Optimum Productivity. The date for the program is 16 November 2022, and the time for the program is 10 a.m. Once again, the program is virtual, so for more inquiries on the program, you can call on Anita on 070-111-30059. And you can also call on Michael on 080-2311-7969.
All right, thank you so much, Olawale Hassan, Training Officer at ICSAN Training Department, and also thank you to Mr. KAYODE KETEFE, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. Thank you both for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, and that's our package this morning on Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. We'll return again next week, Wednesday, 10:15 a.m., right here on Equate 9.7 FM. I'm Funmi Omoburi. Enjoy the rest of the day.